Well, we started doing some painting. I really didn't get anywhere today. I mean, outside of the house. We've been painting up the walls and windows and making coffee, testing coffee. Different batches, different rates, all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, on another note, remember we got a hot water heater because the other one crapped out? Well, we're like in the shower and it's like you got it all the way on hot and we're not getting any hot. So it's like, okay. So what ended up happening the other day was the mixing valve on the shower, that thing, wasn't mixing anymore. Only the cold was coming out. So the other day I had to redo the entire plumbing part for the shower. So I put a new spout in down there, a new one of that, and luckily being here, I had a spare one. So I didn't even have to go look for it. So that one's brand new. So this is the basic plan. I mean, a lot of you wrote, and I appreciate all your comments and everything else about, maybe renting the house or keeping the house or doing that kind of stuff. But the reality is that once, we're starting to work on the house, because we'll probably put it up for sale unless something changes. I mean, if something changes, then we'll still be here. But if something doesn't change, then, we're going to be starting a whole new business in the U.S. And in all honesty, there's not going to be enough time to be coming down here. If we get time to come down, it would be for like at best a week. So there's not a lot of point in keeping this house, maintaining this house, having a caretaker, everything else. And, having a house here and renting it, remember, I've been here a long time. That's just almost a recipe for problems, big problems. How big? Could depend. So that's not going to happen. What we're planning on doing is I'm going to sell the Toyota off. We're still going to be hoping something comes along. Great, wonderful. We'll stay. But, if it doesn't, then we'll end up selling the house off. Hopefully. I don't know how much yet that we're going to ask for it. It will probably take a special person to want to live on the Key. It's a different atmosphere here. And we've been here a while. Everybody knows us. So it's not a problem for us, but it's going to take a special person to want to live here, I think. Just the way it is. And then I think, the land up north, I'm 99% sure is under contract. There was a little legality with the Bahamas Investment Board, but that should be easily sorted out, not a great deal. So that land will be sold. I wish we'd sell the car because there's not a lot of, now that you're not working, there's not a lot of money that's coming in. And probably, I'm thinking maybe April, May, we'll go back in March for a trip. There's birthdays and all that kind of stuff that have to be, it's already been paid for and whatnot. And then we'll come back after that. We'll bring a bunch of stuff with us. People said, and I got comments, emails on this channel, Facebook, all kinds of comments came through. And what we'll end up doing is taking what we want in the next few trips back, and the rest will end up getting sold with the house. The furnishings, appliances, the whole works. In this particular house, because of where it is, it could be a house. There's 4 bedrooms. And it could be somebody wants to try to rent it. It could be commercial. Somebody wants to turn it into some kind of a shop, live upstairs. It has some potential, but I'm not sure who is going to jump on it and at what price. I mean, I know I could lower the price down way bottom and have it sold in no time. I don't really want to do that. That's not really in our best interest.
That's the historical part.
And it's also, well, it's a historical building. It's classified with the government here as historical. so somebody who took it over could reapply for that historical status, which also gives them a duty-free for 20 years. Not duty, well, duty-free and also no property taxes for 20 years. Now, if a Bahamian bought it, well, they don't pay property taxes here. So that's yet to be seen what will happen.
It also has 4 standing walls that you don't need any of the interior walls for.
Right. I mean, basically, it's a freestanding structure because of the way it's built. So the interior walls, if you wanted to change it, can always be changed. You could turn it into offices or, you know, restaurant or, you know, whatever you wanted to do. What we're going to end up doing is when we eventually, if nothing happens, then we'll end up going back to the States, and when we go in March, I'll put in the plan for the building permit. I have long since designed the house that we'd be building, and it's going to be a, you know, super insulated house with, like, the walls are made out of SIPs, which are structural insulated panels, and I've built with them before. You can build a house, you know, this is not going to be a big house. We're downsizing and all that kind of stuff, but it'll probably be about 1,400 square feet total. It'll probably take a week and a half after the slab. It's going to be on a slab with radiant heat. Week and a half, and it should be weather tight. It's a fast process to build, so that part's relatively easy. Then you put windows and doors in it. It's kind of a funny looking house to begin with because the panels are, the walls give you an R36 wall. So it's very tight, and it keeps its heat really well. I mean, our last house was 2,300 square feet when I made it out of that. And I think even in northern Vermont, it was costing us about $2,000 a year for propane, and that's with the heat, the hot water, and stove, and backup generator. So really not that bad. This one should be even cheaper because it's even smaller. So, and then we're going to put on part of the house is going to be the coffee roasting section, and we'll get the kitchen all certified and everything else with the state, go through all that rigmarole, and then we'll start roasting coffee. We'll put up a website. We'll hopefully get people who will want to try it, continue it. You know, and I've been trying to come up with different ones, and I'll try different varieties. And we're going to do, there's different ways, and most, if you've ever looked at coffee roasting, most of the time it's like this drum that goes around. And I've done a lot of research on that, and I'm thinking we're going to go with, it's more like that version I showed you over there, but it's more of an industrial popcorn maker. And what it does is you've got hot air coming through, heating the beans, so you don't have any gases, you're not burning off the chaff, you're not creating any real chemicals in the coffee, where a drum roaster creates the chaff, the stuff that blows off the beans, burns up in the same chamber. And then there's some other ones, and you get some gases, I can't remember, it is sulfide or something or other. So I think this should make it'll be an adventure, let's put it that way. And we're going to continue this whole YouTube channel too. It's just going to be reverted into a new avenue, which will be more and more northern. We'll be traveling around New England to different places, visiting different places, roasting coffee, talking with different people.
Field trips.
Yeah, there'll be field trips. And then we're going to have, Sid's going to have the kitchen certified as commercial, so since we're building to begin with, we'll be able to put in whatever's needed for that. So, you know, the long-term plan is that what we would do is start the coffee roasting, and as time went on, if it grew, I'd put another building. We have 5 acres in a field in Vermont. We used to own 45 of it and sold off bits and pieces. And so we still have 5 acres. That's where we'll build. If it goes well, then we'll put up another sort of a barn type thing, insulated, all that kind of stuff, where the coffee will get roasted on a bigger scale. There'll be coffee. We're going to sell mugs, t-shirts, all of that kind of stuff that'll go with it, the website. So hopefully there'll be a retail and a wholesale component to it. And then we'll wait and see. Is it going to be easy? No, not at all. It's going to be a lot of work. And that's part of it, is keeping this place. We're not going to have, I mean, you know, I'm realistic about things. We're not going to have the time. We're going to be so wrapped up in doing that. If we can get away sometimes for 3 or 4 days, that'll be wonderful. But to keep this place and a vehicle down here and everything else for 3 or 4 days, it's just not really worth it. Right now, the cost of flying down here for 3 or 4 days. No, I mean, when we first started coming here, which is partly how we got here, was that we used to fly from Burlington, Vermont to Nassau for $89, $99. It was like dirt cheap. We'd come down here for 3-4 day weekends because it was a couple $100, big deal. Those days are gone. So we're going to continue doing the videos from here as long as we are, and then there'll be a switch and we'll be building a house in Vermont, all that goes with that, the scenery that's there. The white stuff you see probably isn't going to be sand on the beach. It's probably going to be snow.
It's not going to be pink for sure.
Right, it's definitely not going to be pink unless I put some kind of stuff on it to make it pink. But does it suck? Yeah, it sucks. But it's reality, and there's no point dwelling on what could have been, what could be, blah, blah, blah. It's just, you need to move on. Figure out what to do, move on, and then do it. So that's where we are. Thanks, everybody.